Today we're going to be discussing what is a habitat. I'm also going to be telling you 4 different types of habitat that we will find commonly in the UK, and I'm going to give you some facts about them. So, let's begin. The first habitat we're going to discuss is a woodland. Specifically, we're going to be talking about deciduous woodlands. This means that they die in the wintertime, as there is not enough light and also it's too cold for them the trees to survive. There is another type of woodland, but we're not going into that today. Deciduous forests are normally found between 40 and 60 degrees north and south of the equator. The equator is the hottest part of the planet, where you would normally find lots of tropical rainforest and other habitats like that. Obviously we don't have any of them in the UK, unfortunately. Throughout the year, rainfall varies between about 50 to 70 millimeters a month. The temperature is 20 to 25 degrees in summer, and on average just above 0 in the winter. Trees will lose all their leaves in the winter, like this one. They're not particularly exposed, as the actual trees themselves break up the wind and rain quite a lot within the woodland, providing shelter for smaller animals and also for smaller plants. The soil type is a brown earth, meaning it's fertile and good for growth and nutrients of plants. This is due to the falling of leaves in the wintertime, which creates a very fertile soil after their decomposition. You will often find lots of hazel, ash, holly, grass, bracken and bluebells in these forests. You will also find small animals like foxes, rodents and birds. There are potential threats to these habitats, like diseases, for example the ash tree disease over the last few years, where many trees were infected and infected each other and had to be cut down and destroyed safely to prevent the further spread of the disease. Grassland is the second habitat we are going to talk about. Unfortunately, I cannot use my camera properly while putting it down on the grass. The altitude of grassland is around 2,000 feet generally above sea level. An average of about 70 to 80 millimeters of rainfall per month. But it can be anything up to 1,500 millimeters per year. The temperature is generally up to 25 degrees in the summer and below 0 in the winter. Exposure is, it's very exposed. It's a very exposed habitat, as there is nothing to break up the wind or the rain or the snow or the ice, as you can see today. Meaning most animals will burrow in this environment and habitat. Nutrients in the soil are found near the surface, as they come from decayed organic matter, like other vegetation, from the previous season. So a lot of it dies again in the winters. There's not much nutrients in this soil, meaning it's harder for plants to grow. There is mostly just grass and other small shrubs like bracken, and there are also small animals like rodents, moles and rabbits. And other large animals would live here too. But there is a lot of damage from farming and a lot of these habitats, and also farming does disrupt a lot of these habitats, and to solve this, make sure the farmers can make sure fields are rotated, and the other animals have national parks or sanctuaries where they are safe from harm and disruption. The next habitat is hedgerows. There is no information about the average altitude of hedgerows in the UK. There is about 60 to 100 millimeters of rainfall per month. The temperature is -5 to 30 degrees depending on the time of year, There is a high exposure, but it shelters a lot of smaller animals underneath them. There is not much nutrients in the soil, but it can vary due to there being almost everywhere in the UK. Potential threats are damage by agricultural machinery, as they have increased in size over the years, the machines that are used, and also from industrial machinery. Solutions to this are limits on the distance between the crops and the hedgerows in general in the countryside to prevent accidental damage by machinery. These ecosystems also, these habitats also support the life of lots of small animals like rodents, moles, rabbits and foxes. The last habitat is ponds, but there is not one nearby me, so I'm going to have to do it in here. Also, it's very cold. The altitude of ponds varies greatly. They are from everywhere thousands of metres up and also just below sea level in some areas. Rainfall is 70 to 80 millimetres per month. There is a high level of rainfall, but they do require a high level of rainfall to keep themselves there, especially in hotter countries. But there are often streams and rivers feeding them and as tributaries. The temperature is generally between -5 and 30 degrees depending on the time of year. There is low and high exposure to these, as it provides it's very sheltered for creatures that are underwater, but anything on the surface doesn't often have anywhere to hide apart from reeds and trees in the surrounding area. There is a high nutrients in the soil because of all the dead fish and other animals that will sink to the bottom, as well as vegetation, and decompose there over a period of time. There is often water lilies and algae in these ponds, as it is stagnant water, which means it's not moving, so breeding of the spread of algae, often called algal bloom, which is when algae grows too much and blocks out sunlight for the other, that was a tangent, fuck, start again. There are different fish depending on the location and size of the body of water. There are also frogs, small bugs, like water boatmen, and midges, which we all hate. Potential threats include pollutants, oil, sewage, fertiliser and algal bloom. Algal bloom is when algae grows too much and covers over 25% of the water. This means that sunlight can no longer get to the fish below and there is not enough oxygen in the water for the fish to breathe, despite the misconception that fish do not require oxygen to breathe. They do extract oxygen from the water around them using their gills. Unfortunately, as humans, we are very responsible for all the damage that has been done, or almost all the damage that has been done, to the habitats of many animals. As future outdoor instructors, it is our job to try and preserve these habitats as much as possible, so that they're here for the following generations, and also because we enjoy them. We swim in them, we teach in them, and we use them as an asset that is often taken for granted. It is our job to protect these as much as we can and make people aware of the dangers that they are facing. It's also our job to make sure simple things happen, like the picking up of litter by our groups that we lead. There are many campaigns out there, like Surfers Against Sewage, who are trying to reverse the effects, negative effects that we as humans have had, especially on the oceans. But on an individual basis, there is a lot more we could all be doing to try and help. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy.